What's up, everybody? It's your favorite diaper wearing trooper's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Archive series Biker Scout, which is not really a re-release because the other one came with the bike. So I'm not sure if it's the same mold or not. We'll kind of take a look. That Biker Scout from Hasbro was kind of difficult to get on the bike, so I'm not sure if I'm going to take him off of that. But we will compare him with the Figuarts. We will compare him with the Bondi kit, I believe, as well, and kind of have some final thoughts and such. But first, accessories. And he comes with his signature little pistol. Just black plastic, single sculpt, decent sculpt work, no paint. Goes in the side holster, and it'll hold it just fine with 2 fingers in the trigger guard. So the head is on a ball hinge. Well, it's on a disc hinge with a ball peg at the top of it. And this is old school Black Series, so the articulation was really pretty stellar. Up to there, down to there. Not a whole lot of attitude, but you do get the swivel. Paint on it, we had black paint, gray paint. There's also gray paint there on the nose, gray paint there, black paint, more gray paint, gray and black paint. Like, they went for it. Good on them. It's also a glossier black for the eye lens that they use paint-wise, so that looks good as well. No issues. The chest, single ball peg from the chest into the torso. Limited range, mainly because of the pouches, but you do get the swivel, and that's all you're going to pretty much get out of that. We got disc hinge shoulders. The shoulder pads will go up and over the kind of chest piece. Decently done. And then you get the swivel around where they plug in. Nice sculpt work on the arms and the legs, like with the material of the fabric and then the kind of straps and such that go throughout. So no issues there. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. We're not always guaranteed those things independently on Black Series, so it's always nice to see it, but like we said, old school. And then the elbow pad kind of covers the ugliness, and we got some kind of weathering going on there with some dirt, which is also heavily on the lower legs. Maybe a little too much, you know, maybe a little heavy-handed. It doesn't bother me, but I can admit that for sure, if it was like, no, if somebody was like, dude, I hate this because of the weathering, I'd be like, no, I get it. It is excessive. All right, wrist swivel and then hinge up, down on this hand and on this hand as well. And then you have a holding hand for no reason. We know the reason is to hold the bike that he didn't come with. And then we have the trigger finger hand on this that could also hold the biker handle as well. Same kind of weathering used. It's a wash basically down the chest and then in the little indentations there, as well as a little black paint accent there. And then on the back, they didn't quite know what they were doing there, did they? Didn't have the machine quite lined up right. What's going on, Mac? I hate stuff like that. That's just trash. And then we have black and red paint up there. The belt is sculpted and painted nice enough. And it's a softer plastic down here, so it shouldn't get in your way for the T-jointed ball joints to get you out to there. Forward and back to there. Thigh cut, double hinge knee. Not the prettiest, but the knee pad does help with that. And then we have the shading or the weathering, the dirt look. And then we have a boot cut, which is fine. Doesn't really help you any, but it's there and it's fine. And then a super heavy wash on the lower legs, which this is either going to drive you nuts or you're okay with it. It doesn't bother me. Now, ankles are on a disc hinge. Ankle tilt up to there, down to there, and where they peg into the foot, get you your rocker, and the bottom of the shoe is sculpted. So it's a good figure. It's not quite as elegant as the other two, but speaking of the other two, let's take a look. So there's the Hasbro one with the Hasbro on the bike behind him. This is the exact same mold. The weathering obviously is a little lighter on the original, but everything else is pretty much identical. The pouches might be a little lighter as well, the pouches on the torso, and then the back is, the paint is lined up better, but that's going to be a kind of individual results will vary type of deal. So there's the Hasbro, there's the Figuarts, there's the Bondi. The best figure is the Figuarts. For your money is probably the Hasbro. I know people love the Bondi model kits, they swear by them, and that's cool. I'm glad that people enjoy them. I think they're fine. I use them for trooper fodder and stuff like that, but I'm not really into them as figures. They're very cool as models, but they just don't perform like figures. They're not meant to. It's not Bondi's fault. It's a fault regarding expectations. You know, expecting a model kit to perform like a figure, it just doesn't do that. You know, but this was an expensive figure, and it came with the bike, I believe. I could be wrong about that. And then this, you know, is an inexpensive figure, so I think think for a trooper, you'll be fine with this. You know, this is the best one, and I was just messing with them, and like, this fig arts are just, it just feels very professional. Whereas this guy, there are flaws with this guy. That's one of them. He's just not a very well balanced figure, probably because they were more worried about him going on a bike than they were about him standing. But neither of them are bad, or none of them are bad, I should say. And it never hurts to have more troopers. You kind of build your troopers, and they all have a little bit of individual personality regarding them, so they're not just identical clones, which I also really, really like. But there he is in my display. He's back here in the center, which allows me to bring my fig arts up a little bit, and this shelf's getting a little crowded. I'm going to be careful, but it's pretty cool. Final thoughts-wise, let's talk about the negatives. I think that the weathering might really bother some people. And I can't stress it enough, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. It has absolutely zero impact. However, I know how a fandom can be, and I know that some folks can find that troublesome. And it might be because I have these dioramas, and the dioramas kind of lend itself to a more realistic look. And that's not to say that the paint is realistic, it's just to say, like I know it's silly to have fully dirty boots and then no dirt on the pants. Like, I get it. But I'm just saying it kind of blends into the diorama and into the world more, so perhaps that's why it doesn't bother me as much. There's also a balance issue on the figure, and I'm sure that's because the main priority of this figure when they designed it was to fit on the bike and ride the bike properly. But as an individual figure, it just has a hard time standing, it has a hard time balancing, and you'll probably notice that as well. And then there's some paint issues, but that's going to be an individual, results will vary. On the positive side, the sculpt is good, the articulation is good. It's actually better than what we get normally with Black Series because it was a different time and space, and you can never have enough troopers. So I would take your space into account, take the logistics into account, see how much troop building you really want to do regarding Biker Scouts, and then kind of act accordingly. Because you can get away with the model kit as well. It's kind of up to you and what you enjoy, but there's nothing inherently wrong with this figure to the point where I would not recommend it. But there's nothing glowingly beautiful about its re-release like there is, say, with the Anakin, the Maul, or the Yoda. So I hope that helps. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.